Good afternoon. It is about 1:10 in the afternoon. I apologize, or excuse me, it's 2:10 in the afternoon. I apologize for us being a little bit late. This is the first meeting of the Academic Stress Commission that is being televised, and so I would like to thank all of the citizens in the community who might be watching this at some point and appreciate their participation and their support of the Lorain City School District. Could I have a roll call, please?
Dr. Zelli?
Here.
Mr. Patterson?
Here.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Dr. Richard?
Here.
And Mr. Whitfield is absent. The next item on our agenda is public comment. Do I have any public comment? Okay, seeing no public comment, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda.
Chair, I'd like to make an amendment to the current agenda. I'd like to add a new item 5, change item 5 from approval of the October 30th minutes to another executive session to consider employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, or compensation of public employees, and prepare for conduct to review a collective bargaining strategy.
Okay, so can I have a motion to amend the agenda to have an executive session as item number 5, and then every other item will become one numerical number type.
So in that, we'll probably have 2 other initial executive sessions and we'll follow the executive session.
That's right.
Second.
Okay, so I made the motion, and Mr. Ramos seconded the motion. Could I have a roll call, please?
Dr. Zelli?
Yes.
Mr. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
And Dr. Richard?
Yes.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda, I have a motion to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, or compensation of public employees, and to prepare for, conduct, or review a collective bargaining strategy in executive session. Oh, I'm sorry.
As amended?
No, we did.
We did.
Okay.
Okay, so I will move that we go into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, or compensation of public employees, and to prepare for, conduct, or review a collective bargaining strategy. And the commission will be back out of executive session and will take action afterwards. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Could I have a roll call, please?
Dr. Zelli?
Yes.
Mr. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
And Dr. Richard?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Could I have a roll call, please?
Dr. Zelli?
Yes.
Mr. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Dr. Richard?
Okay, thank you very much. So we're out of executive session. Could I have a motion to approve the October 30th, 2015 regular minutes?
So moved.
I think Dr. Richard and Mr. Patterson. Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call.
Dr. Zelli?
Yes.
Mr. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Dr. Richard?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So the 2 major items on our agenda will be a report from Lorain City Schools on their progress, and then a consideration of our academic recovery plan for the district. Yes. Right. Okay. Yes, okay, got it, thank you. Dr. Graham.
Thank you, Dr. Zelli. At the last the Distress Commission meeting, we had a very detailed breakdown of all 6 areas of focus in the district. But one of the questions came out about the rubric system that we're considering, which is the CBAN, Concerns-Based Adoption Model. And I asked Bill Oley to address some of the Commission's concerns on what the rubric measures and if it measures what we want it to measure. Bill, would you be so kind? He's our in-house CBAN expert.
Working on it.
As Dr. Graham mentioned, you have the 6 priorities for the school district, and we've been talking a lot about how it is that we're going to measure those and to what degree. And in short, the concerns-based adoption model is something that we're looking at to meet the needs of answering the questions, to what degree and what levels of use and what will the rubric look like. I'm going to put a short presentation up here. So if I backpedal just a little, we have the Academic Distress Commission goals, and those were broken down into the Academic Recovery Plan, or within the recovery plan. And we've been talking about timelines, progress monitoring, and alignment. And the feedback that's been informing the plan so far has been the Academic Distress Commission meetings like this, academic monitors, reports from Lorain City school staff, our state diagnostic reviews, district leadership plans, and our professional learning communities, which is our district leadership team. So this is all really a cycle of continuous improvement. And at our last meeting, we talked about how the 6 priorities consume 66% or cover 66% of the academic plan. And as Dr. Zelli just mentioned, the plan is under review for update today. So just as a reminder, the 6 focus priorities are graduation for college and career readiness, instructional standards and academic rigor, professional learning communities, which ties in with Ohio Improvement Process, communications, cultural competency, and staff recognition and retention. So as we look back on the 6 priorities in our meetings, and our reflection really comes down to these questions. How far along are we in the goals and actions that we need for change? And to what degree are we measuring the progress? What support do we need to move forward? Not only as a district, but looking at administrators as a whole or even individual. Same with teachers as a whole or individual. So it kind of gives us a space of where can we provide support. I may need different support than my coworker. And do stakeholders know their next steps for improvement? So not only where are you, but what is it that you're going to do next to get better? So this produced a need for a tool that would measure progress and determine our levels of support. So we're going to consider where staff is in the process, identify perceptions that may be out there and concerns, because this really is, it's people that are doing the work. So we have to get the feedback from people. It's more than just numbers on paper. And the result will be building a roadmap on how it is that we'll get from point A to point B, almost like the growth model that we talk about with students in a classroom. So the result is the concerns-based adoption model, and it's defined as a framework that's designed to provide measurement concepts and tools for stakeholders to evaluate the effects and progress of implementation and innovation, which is exactly what we're trying to do in this change process with the academic recovery plan. So the CBAM, or concerns-based adoption model, really has 3 constructs or dimensions, and those are levels of use, stages of concern, and innovation configurations. I could talk for 7 minutes, but we still have some professional development that's coming. So what I would like to do is show a 6-minute presentation.
Schools and districts usually embark on the change process with the goal of classroom and school improvement. They introduce innovations, new programs, new practices, new curricula, with the expectation that the change will lead to better student outcomes. But implementation of new programs is difficult. Far too often, these innovations do not result in improvement. When that happens, schools often try a new program. Then, after seeing no results, move on to another. Instead, school staffs need to understand the change process itself. Evaluators, researchers, and school administrators charged with the implementation of standards-based reforms need tools that will help them describe and measure the components of complex initiatives. The Concerns-Based Adoption Model, or CBAM, is one such set of tools. In today's new era of accountability in education, CBAM can help districts and schools respond to federal requirements for standards-based reform, as well as fostering a culture of continuous improvement. The concerns-based adoption model is made up of 3 constructs or dimensions: stages of concern, levels of use, and innovation configurations. This DVD provides a basic introduction to each of the 3 dimensions. Appearing on this DVD are 3 people who were instrumental in the development and testing of the CBAM when it was originally developed at the Research and Development Center for Teacher Education at the University of Texas at Austin. Dr. Archie George of the University of Idaho, Dr. Gene Hall of the University of Nevada, and Dr. Shirley Hord of the Southwest Educational Development Laboratory. The concerns-based adoption model is a conceptual framework that provides tools and techniques for assessing and facilitating reform in an educational environment. The dimensions of CBAM can be used to examine the components of an innovation, to track the progress of implementation, to report the findings objectively, and to design interventions or strategies that will move the process forward. Evaluators may also find these tools helpful in measuring the implementation of specific standards-based reforms.
What the CBAM does actually is give people a set of lenses through which to view and understand the change process.
The CBAM is based on a number of assumptions about the change process.
I think one of the most important concepts that CBAM stresses is the change as a process and not an event. And everything else follows from that because the tools reinforce the attention to process. And from that perspective, everything fits together.
Change is a personal experience. There's a personal feeling, a personal frustration. It's moments of joy, excitement, depression, discouragement that are part of change. So if you want change to be successful, understanding that personal side becomes really important.
What we fail almost always to do is to check up and to see how well teachers and administrators are using a new program or process in the school or in the classroom in order that we give them additional information and coaching and follow-up to help them improve what they're doing.
The CBAM is made up of 3 dimensions: stages of concern. While implementing an innovation, teachers are likely to have concerns, whether they are personal concerns, management concerns, or concerns related to the impact of the innovation. Stages of concern, sometimes called SOC, uses a questionnaire to help identify and describe the concerns teachers have during the implementation process.
Stages of concern is a way of accessing information about people's attitudes or reactions or feelings about a new program or a new practice. In other words, it's the affective domain, what they're thinking about it or feeling about it.
Levels of use. Teachers will use an innovation to varying degrees. Some may only be thinking about using it. Some may be using the innovation in a very mechanical way. And some may be refining it for maximum impact. Levels of use, also known as LOU, uses an interview protocol to assess the degree to which a teacher is using an innovation.
Mostly, the problems that come about with change from the CBAM perspective have to do with the, not so much that the innovation is not well designed or not effective, but rather its use is not at the highest level right from the beginning. And so those are the aspects that you want to improve.
Innovation configurations. Innovations are almost always altered by individual teachers to fit the conditions and needs of their students and classrooms. Innovation configurations, or IC, is a tool for identifying and describing the various forms of an innovation that different teachers adopt.
Innovation configuration is a little bit different. What it does is to explicitly spell out what the new practice will look like when it is in operation in the classroom.
Explore this DVD to learn more about the 3 dimensions of C-band. Then refer to the manuals for more detailed information.
Okay, so our actions and next steps are, well, we've been in contact with CBAM, and our leadership team had an overview for about an hour and a half. They were kind enough to meet with us by webinar for an hour and a half. We have a proposal that we're going to work on for December and January to bring professional development to the district, and it'll be a 3-phase process. The first one is we'll have a CBAM overview and innovation configuration map session, and that'll be a core team of 6 to 8 folks. And then it'll be stepped up to the IC maps, as the innovation configuration maps, or the rubrics that Dr. Graham referred to, where we'll do a recap and refinement, and that'll be for 25 people. That'll be the folks from Workshop 1 and additional campus staff. And then the third phase will be the core team and principals digging in and writing an initial IC map. So that's where we are in the process of bringing the rubrics and progress monitoring tools to the 6 priorities for the school district. Can we entertain any questions?
How did you come up with, who has any familiarity with CBAM previously? How did you select this particular?
I used it in my dissertation.
Okay. And how long have you been around?
I finished mine about 13, 14 years ago, maybe 20 years, it's a guess. I got my doctorate 13 years ago, I think, 14 years ago.
And did you implement it Parliament for any other districts previously, or?
No.
Oh, just,
No.
fine, this is your, are there other districts around in the area that had success with this?
I don't know, to be honest with you. There was, again, the question came about, and we were looking at a plan that I first got, I think it was very overwhelming. The question is, where is every teacher? Where's our staff on all these different initiatives? So we try to find a way to do a few different things. We're in a unique situation here in Lorain that we have to do, we have a lot of growth to do, and so we had to implement a lot of things at one time. So what this program does is a couple of things. First of all, it measures exactly where we are, so we can personalize our professional development to meet the needs of individual teachers based on where they are in the continuum. The other thing it does is measures they call levels of concern, but the stress associated with all the change. So we can our goal is to implement change at the appropriate pace. So I think it's more of a collective body of information to be used as a rubric. So we know exactly where we are, and exactly what we can handle. So right now, maybe we slow down or speed up, but we can gauge our progress based on exactly what's happening in the classroom. So some school districts, I'm sure, use this. I'm not familiar with any off the top of my head, but I know it measures what we need to measure.
So if you were to implement this, and you talked about workshop 1, 6 core people, and then 25, and then core principals and coaches, are these 3 workshops happening over the next couple of months, December through January, or is this happening sometime after that?
Yeah, we just received the original proposal yesterday,
Right.
and we are definitely moving fast on scheduling the first one. I just have to go through the process of adopting the contract, sending it through the board, and working with the consultants in Austin, Texas, to travel to us to deliver the first professional development. So we're looking at rolling this out in December, January.
So rolling out the initial workshop, December, January?
Well, rolling it out to our core team, I should say.
Right, yes.
So that we can start to develop the progress monitoring tools.
And I guess where I'm going is, I would suggest that when we get to the academic recovery plan, we put this in there. And so I'm trying to understand generally what kind of a time frame we might be looking at to say, that some of this monitoring will actually be in place, that teachers will be involved, that maybe interviewing of teachers will be involved, and that there will be some reports back to the commission. I mean, are we talking March? Are we talking June? Are we talking next August?
Well, as we grow with the professional development, would it be okay if we report out at the next meeting?
Sure.
A more refined timeline for you?
I think the spring is realistic. Now, exact dates, maybe we can.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right, okay. And I'm assuming in the model that we're measuring teacher reactions and participation, if you will. And the interview process is happening by the principal with interviewing the teacher? Or is there some external body that's interviewing?
It's supposed to be an empowerment piece that teaches us the process.
Mhm.
We're gathering information on where folks are with expectations based on the goals that we have in place for each one of the 6 priorities. So it's really a best practices to promote best practices.
But they did show the interview process on the screen a few
Right.
times. What I did was paper pencil, my guess is now it's electronic.
Right.
You get information quickly to show you exactly where the Hillside Rice is as a building, so we know to provide this type of professional development to them. So as opposed to just saying in progress, we can tell you exactly where we are in terms of progress.
And this again, just to apply just to the 6 areas. Is this something, this approach you're going to try to do with everything in terms
Yes.
of evaluation? But
Yeah.
in particular for these 6, but it's going to be just
Yes.
in a way of how things are going to be monitored going forward.
Exactly. Again, to make sure that we're not putting too much on, but also we're keeping the best piece we can.
Anybody has any questions? Okay, so then maybe what we do is when we're here in December, maybe if you've already made a contact, maybe you can provide additional information at that point in time.
Sounds good.
Does that work? Is there anything else that anybody wants to ask about the 6 areas of focus or the 6 goals or the high improvement process that the district is currently engaged in? Okay, thank you. All right, then why don't we move on to the academic recovery plan? So the material that I handed out at the last meeting and then Ms. Gonzalez sent to everyone is the basis of what I sent you last night, or 2 nights ago. That was refined by the district, and then I, in turn, added some things to it. I have clean copies of it for your review, if anybody wants to review it. Yes, same as what I sent you yesterday, absolutely.
Okay.
I'd suggest that, that if we're going to adopt this today, that we leave open the possibility that we will modify it in the near future. I'd suggest that, if we adopt it today, we might still want to add in something about the CBAM assessment piece. I think that, given the fact that the plan becomes a roadmap for the district and also the plan that's going to be evaluated by the ODE, that if there are strategies that the district is going to engage in under these 6 goals and the OIP that are not listed there, it would benefit everyone if they were put in there. Because that way, if the district is doing A, B, and C, and only C is in here, when someone comes in and evaluates, they'll actually see A and B, and we'll get further credit for moving forward. I don't know if there would be anything else that we might want to add, but there might be other things. For the purpose of the public, the academic recovery plan is a plan that's adopted by the board, by the Academic Distress Commission under the revised code that puts us in place. It is the plan that the district implements. It can be modified at any point in time, but it needs to be approved by the state superintendent of schools. And while I can give a lot of arguments why we should wait until December to do this, I'm also feeling like we're in the middle of the school year already. We wanted to wait to get input from the administration and from the school district. And we do have a state superintendent of schools who is leaving as of the end of December. And it might be nice to have something adopted before the state superintendent leaves when we're dealing with whoever is going to be the successor of our current state superintendent, which is why I have a feeling that maybe we should adopt this today. But I'm open to other suggestions on the part of the board. I know that Mr. Whitfield might have some additional things that he might want to add to it also, or at least have considered. So I'm open to conversation.
I looked at the secretary report and went blind with it. I have no problem with it, especially if we can adjust anything we want later on. So, yeah. I don't think I have a problem with that.
I feel the same way, particularly the getting something approved and what happens with the new state superintendent. I think that's gonna, one way or the other, we may end up rewriting it anyway, but I think, quite honestly, it's so delayed, everything's several months late. I think we need to put something in place right now. I mean, a lot of good things are happening already, so I'd be sort of adopting it as well.
Okay. And I'm assuming that the ODE can help us facilitate this through the process so that we have something approved by the state sup before he leaves at the end of it.
No, you're on your own.
He said
I like it.
That's I care what I'm saying.
He's gonna rock it up.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
That's the same response to the last two people in your position.
Absolutely, whatever we can do to expedite that.
Not that I gave anybody that response when I was in my position, but anyway.
Just
All
look
right.
at you, Bill.
Okay. Then, if we're okay with that, I do have resolutions here from Mr. Fisher that will help us adopt these. Let me just, I'll hold one for myself and give something else. Okay, so.
You know, that last page on secretary strategies, if we could just have OTES and OPES spelled out.
Yes, Ohio teacher evaluation.
I think that's the only thing I looked at is, okay, they want them.
And Ohio principal evaluation system.
But that's it.
Okay, we're good. So with that modification, we're feeling okay. All right. And based on that, I will move that whereas in order to assist the Lorain City School District to improve the district's academic performance and pursuant to revised code 330210, the superintendent of public instruction established an academic distress commission for Lorain City School District, and whereas pursuant to RC 330210 I2, the commission has previously adopted the academic recovery plan for the district. The commission has previously adopted the academic recovery plan for the district, and the state superintendent of public instruction has approved such commission action. And whereas pursuant to 330210I, the commission has drafted an updated academic recovery plan in conjunction with the district leadership team to strengthen a continuous cycle of academic improvement for the district. And whereas the commission presented and discussed the updated academic recovery plan at the monthly commission meeting today, November 20th, 2015, now therefore be it resolved that the commission adopts the updated academic recovery plan pursuant to 330210 I3 and forthwith submits the updated academic recovery plan to the superintendent of public instruction for evaluation and approval. Whereas for the foregoing resolution was moved by me, seconded by Mr. Patterson, and duly adopted on November 20th, 2015 upon roll call, further resulting in. So, could I have a roll call, please?
Dr. Zelli?
Yes.
Mr. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
And Dr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Okay, so resulting in 4 yeas and 0 nays. So, Mr. Fisher, we are official?
Yes, you can sign it and then give it to Honor.
Great, okay. Thank you very much. I'll sign this one and I will give it to Ms. Gonzalez. And you know what, I just want to thank the administration and the school district for the input and the support of the commission, because I think that this is going to be very significant, and the support of ODE, this is going to be very significant in moving student achievement forward within the school district, and ultimately, I think this is going to be a significant benefit to the kids of Lorain. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And again, we'd like to thank you for allowing us to participate in that process and for trusting our judgment and for your support over the past 4 months. It's been great. And again, I know there's a lot of bad feelings about the fact that the commission is here, but I can tell you in my 4 months, it's been very much appreciated the level of support we had from ODE from the commission. And I tell everybody, and I'm saying it on camera now, that I think we're blessed to have, excuse me, 2 superintendents who get it and 3 members of the community who get it. And again, working together to do good things. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, new business. I have 2 items for new business. I don't know if anybody else has any. The first item is we need to schedule another meeting, and then the second item is we just need to, and I have it somewhere here, we need to talk about our trip to Cincinnati, at least those of us who are planning to go to Cincinnati, to visit Myerson Academy and look at some of the wraparound services that Cincinnati Public Schools has in place to further support the children of that particular school district. And for the public's information, the reason that we're going there is because the school district and the Academic Distress Commission are interested in looking at the possibility of providing wraparound services to children here in the Lorain City School District. So, do we want to talk about our next meeting? Do we want to do Friday again? You know, we're in December already, folks, so.
Friday the 25th is not.
Friday?
We'll all come to your house.
We all have off that day.
We do have off that day. Yeah, but I won't have anything to do.
I think that'd be perfect. Dedication.
I'll be here. Already my schedule, I'm pretty busy though, so I'll do it in the afternoon.
What about the 11th?
The 11th, I'm out of town.
If we want to do a Friday, I can do the afternoon of the 18th.
I'm good.
I'm good.
You're good? Okay, why don't we do the afternoon of the 18th? 1 o'clock work, or do you want to do it a different time? Okay, 1 o'clock. All right, so 1 o'clock on 12/18. Okay. So the second item of business is our trip to Cincinnati. Have we identified who is actually going to go?
Yes.
Go on.
So I did receive the list from Elena, Mr. Lorain. I didn't see that there would be any board members, so I'm just clarifying that there are no board members that are planning to attend.
That is not accurate. I believe board members are coming. Let me double check on that.
Okay.
I think Tony Demakia was going to go and get one other.
So Cincinnati just wanted a count. They're doing different things. Number one, they're having a bus. So we've all agreed 10 o'clock is okay. So they're having a bus transport us from their board office to the school and back. And then they want to provide lunch. That's why the count is important. So, and I think I already summarized the different entities that want to be involved include some of our members of the state school board because they wanted to talk to you anyway. They wanted a conversation with Lorain. Then we have representatives of OFT and OEA who also wanted to have a conversation with you about community learning centers and the possibilities. So it allows everybody to come together.
Okay, great, thank you.
So that last 2:30 to 3:30 will be design more so that everyone can direct questions to the leadership of Cincinnati first. And then it will switch that last part of the hour to brainstorming on, so Lorain, what do you think? And how can the state help you? How can everybody will be asking your administration, what are your thoughts and how do you think they can be of support to you? And that's how the agenda will go for that final hour.
And do we know whether Mr. Pickering or some of his leadership team, or Mr. John or some of his leadership team will also join us?
Pickering.
I'll be there, yep, I'm in.
Okay. All right,
Hey,
so-
you already on the list, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
We have a list.
You're on everybody's list. Yes.
The only ones who don't have are the board members, so we'll
Okay.
be waiting to hear.
And that's my fault, I didn't know. Okay.
All right, so it is December 3rd, 10 o'clock in the morning in Cincinnati. We need to figure out how we're going to get there. You know.
I think we'll check with our folks, see if we get a van together.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good.
May
All
I
right.
submit something else for
Yes,
new business?
absolutely. Well,
So-
before you do that,
Okay.
if we're moving off of this topic, there's nothing else on the Cincinnati trip. Mr. Patterson just suggested, could we do 2 o'clock on the 18th rather than 1 o'clock on the 18th? And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay? So 2 o'clock on the 18th for our next meeting. Okay.
The only other thing is just a reminder that we'll have the district review team coming January 25th through 29th. And it will be our plan, if it's okay to fit in this agenda, to do a general overview that we normally do for districts for Ms. Graham's sake, since he has not had a review yet. But it may not be necessary for the commission because all of you have had that presentation. And then last month I asked, do you want us to share it with the board or not?
From my perspective, I think that there might be a value in the board understanding what you're doing on behalf of ODE and on behalf of the school district. But I'm not going to make that
I would
call.
agree, I think whatever's going around the district, the board should be a part of, so that'd be
And
great.
then you're able to hear it then. This group doesn't necessarily need to hear it, you've heard it, you've been living it. But it's up to you if you want us to give any kind of little snapshot. It hasn't really changed. Outside the fact, the last review was a follow-up, and we gave updates. This, again, will be a full review like the very first one that was done 2 years ago.
So but if you're going to give it to the board, I can attend a board meeting. So
Okay.
either way, it's
Yeah.
enough to me.
And potentially Mr. Whitfield was not around.
Oh, that's right.
When you did it last time, so we might want to include him in on presentation.
So if you can let us know, do you want us to set it up through running with the board? Or do you want us to have 2 presentations?
No, why don't you set it up with Ms. Gonzalez, with the board, and then if any of us want to attend, we can always be there at the board meeting when you do that. And if that doesn't work on our schedule, maybe we can be here when you do a presentation to the administrative team.
Okay.
One way or another.
So the plan, it will be before January, before they actually come in, because we're trying to
Okay.
learn what's going on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other new business? Okay. Based upon that, could I have a motion to consider to move into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, or compensation of public employees, and to prepare for, conduct, or review a collective bargaining strategy. And the commission may take action upon exiting executive session.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Patterson, Mr. Ramos, could I have a roll call, please?
Dr. Zelli.
Yes.
Mr. Patterson.
Yes.
Mr. Ramos.
Yes.
Dr. Richard.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, and we'll be back. It is 4:50 in the afternoon. Could I have a motion to exit executive session?
So moved. Second.
Dr. Richard and Mr. Patterson. We'll do a roll call. Dr. Zelli, yes. Mr. Patterson? Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Dr. Richard?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Patterson, Mr. Ramos? Yes?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much.
If you say no, you have to stay.
Hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. Thank you very much.
This has been a production of Lorain City Schools, TV 20 WLCS.
To purchase a high-quality copy of the program you just viewed, please call Lorain City Schools Television at 282-8400.